Hello there folks, and welcome back to another speed paint video. The summertime has me thinking about Animal Crossing, even though I haven't played in a little while. And man, I just love this series. The special characters in particular have always been very cool to me. I love that a lot of them are like mythological creatures, like the magical tanuki that Tom Nook is, or like the shape-shifting tricky kitsune that Crazy Red is, or even just the Kappas that Captain and his family all are. There's a lot of like fun stuff that's like magical or weird about the various NPCs you see in Animal Crossing. One of my favorite things is when Animal Crossing features an extinct animal though, which has only happened a couple of times, most notably being the Dodo Airlines brothers Wilbur and Orville, who are obviously dodos, one of the most famous extinct animals, I would say. There are some normal villagers too that are based on extinct animals, like the woolly mammoth character Tucker, I believe is his name, but I think they're really cool when they're applied to like very special characters in particular. So I thought it would be interesting to use some extinct animals as inspiration for brand new Animal Crossing special characters that have various jobs and stuff. I thought that would be pretty cute. So without further ado, let's get into the speed paint. First up, we have an extinct animal that I swear to God gets me to tear up every time I think about it. It's the passenger pigeon. If you haven't heard the story of the passenger pigeon, it is a sad one. It is one of the most notable examples of human-caused extinction among animals. The passenger pigeon was a pigeon species in North America that used to be, like, ridiculously plentiful. Allegedly, the flocks of these guys would literally cover the sky when they flew overhead. There were like billions of these things. It was actually absurd. It was said that when a flock would fly overhead and they will all poop on stuff, it looked like snow coming down. That's how many frickin' birds there were. And unfortunately, they were tragically hunted to extinction, and conservation efforts came in just too late for the species. It is one of the most insane losses of something because they were just so common. They were everywhere, and now they're not. And it does really bum me out because they were really adorable birds. They were everywhere. They were so commonplace, and now they're just gone. In the span of just 100 years or so, they were wiped out. And it really does break my heart. I think they were such adorable animals. I love all the displays I've seen of them. One of my favorites is the pin taxidermy display in the Natural History Museum in New York. It's just, wow, I love these birds. I think they're really cute. I really do miss them. And they're just such an interesting part of our history as, like, part of conservation and stuff. They really are, like, perhaps one of the most notable, like, tales of caution when it comes to conservation and how humans engage with other animals. No species is immune to being made extinct, right? Like, the passenger pigeon was everywhere. Nobody was worried about it because it was everywhere. It was so plentiful that nobody was concerned about it until it was way too late to do anything. So it goes to show, like, even, like, boring animals or animals you think of as being pests or stinky or weird or annoying, these are all still very important animals, and they deserve your respect, they deserve your time. No species deserve to be eradicated, no matter how annoying you think it is, because they all have a place on our planet, and the passenger pigeon is there to remind us about that. Famously, the passenger pigeon had an endling named Martha. An endling is an animal that is the last of its species, so something like Lonesome George, or in this case, Martha. And Martha was a very notable endling. She lived, I believe, at the Cincinnati Zoo, and yeah, there's like a memorial for her and everything. And I thought I would name this character after Martha because, I don't know, that just felt right. It also does sound like the name of like a early 20th century, like, traveler or tourist type character. Like, it feels right. Like, Martha really suits a character like the idea I had for this passenger pigeon. My idea for her was that she was some kind of tourist or traveler, since passenger pigeons were known for their crazy migrations and stuff. So she travels to different towns. Maybe she also visits during multiplayer. Like, if you open up your town, maybe, like, while your friend's flying in, maybe she sneaks in past and also comes in. Maybe she, like, trades you, like, various goods and stuff. Like, maybe she gives you, like, non-native fruit or other, like, special items and stuff. And maybe if you become friends with her, maybe she'll send you letters and tell you about stuff she saw in your friend's town or something like that. That was my idea, is that she's like a traveling character, somewhere like kind of inspired a little bit by like Katie, but we'll see another couple of characters that are inspired by Caitlin and Katie later actually in this video. But yeah, she's like a traveler, she wants to learn about the world, and she's like always going around. Like, she's also partly inspired by the idea of like a messenger pigeon, right? Like a male bird, which, by the way, I recently got into the app Roost, which, if you haven't heard of it, very interesting app. It's very silly. You basically just send really slow text via virtual birds. Very cute. And yeah, passenger pigeons, I love them. I think they're so cute. I miss them so dearly. And every time I see other pigeons, I'm like very grateful to still have them. Like, shout out my mourning doves and my rock doves and all my other sweet little guys that still exist, that we still take care of today. It really does bring a smile to my face that we still have a lot of really awesome animals and that we're doing a way better job these days of taking care of them. So, yeah. Rest in peace, the passenger pigeon. You were awesome. Rest in peace, Martha. You were so, so lovely. And yeah, I thought it would be fun to make a character who's this lovely little tourist lady based on Martha the Endling. Next up is an animal that went extinct a way longer time ago than the passenger pigeon. That is the auroch, which you probably have never heard of. A lot of people don't know what aurochs are, but basically they were the wild ancestor to modern-day domestic cattle. They were basically these like really big bovines that were just huge. They were humongous. We low-key don't know a lot about them because not a lot was documented about them. We have a few skeletons and other stuff, of course, and it's like a little bit unclear of like what their fur patterns were. It's thought that they were probably different depending on whether they were male or female. And there's a lot about these guys that we don't know, even though we did ostensibly live alongside them for quite a long time. Like, there's a lot of old art pieces that do feature aurochs. You can tell that they're different from, domestic cows and bulls because of their size and the way that they're built. They had these big horns, which kind of remind me of, like, some of the modern-day cattle you see that are built for similar, traits and stuff. There have been projects of people trying to, like, breed out, like, traits for what the original aurochs looked like, so while they're not obviously the same species anymore, it is kind of cool that we get a glimpse into what these guys might have looked like based on just, like, their, like, descendant, essentially, and people breeding for the traits and stuff. It's, like, the closest thing we can get to actually seeing what a living auroch is like is with these projects. So even though they're not that actually genotypically close to the auroch, it's still kind of interesting to see these, like, phenotypically similar animals and how they behave, what they're up to, and really it was just a really cool little guy. This character is called Bo, as in derived from bovine, and my thought is that he could be a friend to Leaf, the sloth character, and he specializes particularly in farm crops because, you know, cows are very integrally related to, like, agriculture and stuff. Like, a lot of old, like, oxen or other bovine type animals were used to help till fields and stuff, so it feels very appropriate that he would work with farm crops and vegetables. So even though he seems, like, intimidating and tough, he's actually, like, very gentle with his plants. He's got a wonderful green thumb, even though he doesn't have fingers. And he does a lot of cool stuff for your town. I imagine that he would offer to pick weeds, so while Leaf is like, hey, you can sell weeds to me for double the money, this guy actually does pick weeds for you by, like, turning up your soil and making it nice again, I like to think. Maybe he would sell other farm tools, like, maybe he could give you an upgraded watering can that has, like, a bigger watering radius, or maybe something that helps you till multiple tiles of soil at once. Something, like, very basic, like, farm sim type stuff, I think is what he would allow you to get. And I just think he's kind of cool. I think he's, like, a character that would come off as very intimidating or scary at a first glance, but he's actually a big sweetheart. I think if he was a real character, people would really be drawn to him because he's just very gentle, actually, once you get to know him. He just has a face that looks scary, but he's actually a very gentle fellow, so I'm really happy with how this auroch fellow came out. He's just really a sweetheart. Next up is a bit of a strange extinct animal in my opinion, and that is the Labrador duck. We don't know why the Labrador duck is extinct. I feel like a lot of other ones are like, oh, this thing was overhunted by humans. Spoiler alert, that's what all the other species are in this video, is they were all overhunted. But the Labrador duck is weird because it was already rare to begin with. It had only been seen a couple of times, like, ever. And then it just kind of vanished. And it's just assumed that, like, its habitat went away, or, like, it was competing with other animals or something. I don't know. It's something weird is going on with it for sure. And it has this very notable, like, plumage in the male where it has, like, the black and white coloration that I think is really cool. That's the kind of coloration I used for this character, who I've called Dorian, which is derived from Labrador. And maybe they'd be the non-binary, that's the vibe I get. I went in with, like, having no preconceived notion of what gender this character was gonna be, which is usually how I go with characters like this. So I've decided, Dorian, you know what, you're gonna be a non-binary duck. And Dorian is a character who I think would be really cool in the Animal Crossing franchise, where they can modify your tools. More specifically, Dorian will modify your fishing rods, so maybe they could do like cosmetic stuff, like make your bobbers different, like the various things that we see, but maybe they could have like special animations or effects, like the one I drew here is a star, so I like to imagine maybe it looks glittery when you cast the line or something, like a little shooting star type animation. Maybe they could like modify your thing to have like stat upgrades, so it's like more likely to catch bigger fish, like they're less likely to run away, or like, I don't know. I'm just imagining there's a lot of possibilities with like a character who can modify the tools, and I thought that a duck is very appropriate for fishing. I also thought it'd be very funny and ironic to make this character like bad at swimming. Like, they love interacting with the water and stuff, but I have this vibe, like, the reason they're so into fishing in particular is because they're actually really scared of swimming and they're really bad at it. So this is their way of engaging with an aquatic lifestyle from land, is by fishing instead, and by making, like, various mods for people's, like, fishing rods and stuff, making bait, making new lines, or just cosmetically improving your rod to look cool, or be sick or something. I don't know. There's just a lot of possibilities here. I think it would be really cool if Animal Crossing in the future had, like, characters that could modify your tools. Like, I'm curious what this kind of thing would look like with a bug catching character. Like, how would they modify nets? Maybe they would have, like, a bigger catch radius. Maybe they'd be better at catching, like, tree or flying animals. I don't know. There's definitely a lot to be done here, so I'm kind of curious if they'll ever go in this direction with Animal Crossing in the future in the actual games. But in the meantime, I can fantasize about it with this Labrador duck character and imagine them doing little tool stuff to your various fishing rods and making things just very pretty, cute, and also very useful. So, very fun character, very big fan of the Labrador duck. What a weird extinct animal. Truly, it's not exactly sure what happened to it, but it was a very beautiful animal and they're super cool, so definitely gotta take care of our birds, because they're very vulnerable, surprisingly, to a lot of things. And last up is probably one of the other most iconic human-caused extinct animals, and that is the Thylacine. More specifically, these are actually two characters I've got here, named Cinna and Minnie, of course derived from cinnamon, but also, like, derived from Thylacine, so that's what I thought would be cute, like, very cutesy names derived from the word Thylacine, so that's where I got cinnamon from. And these two are very cute. They're inspired by the fact that Thylacines are marsupials, so the idea is that, like, Cinna is bringing her daughter along with her, like, she's not literally in her pouch, but that's why the baby is coming along with her, is because they're marsupial in nature. Thylacines are just really cool animals. I miss these guys. Even though I never saw one, they're really cute. They were so cool, and it really is a shame what happened to them because, you know, gosh, these poor guys were definitely overhunted, and once again, I'm going to blame imperialism for this one. But gosh, they were really awesome animals. It is a shame that we have lost them because they were such an interesting part of the marsupial family. Like, there really aren't that many carnivorous marsupials, and these guys were a pretty big one too. Like, the only other one I can think of off the top of my head is the Tasmanian devil, and that guy's like kind of like a little freak, you know? Whereas like the Thylacine, which was also called like the Tasmanian tiger, this guy was like kind of a big dog-shaped sort of marsupial, which was kind of interesting because not a lot of marsupials are shaped like that. They're usually a little bit more rodent-like, or you've got like the macropods, like the wallabies and kangaroos that are like these weird bipedal guys that kind of have deer-like faces, in my opinion. The Thylacine was very unique among its family and very weird. It famously was able to open up its jaws super wide, which I think was really funny. I would have loved to watch this thing do that. God, these were really beautiful animals. Their stripes were very striking. They had really cute faces, and I miss them so dearly. There's rumors, of course, that they may or may not still be around. I mean, it is really hard to 100% verify that something is extinct. So part of me, like, really, like, wants to believe that maybe, like, we'll never, as a species, as humans, we'll never see Thylacines again, but secretly some of them are still out there, doing their thing, staying hidden from us so they don't get in trouble with us again. I really want to believe that maybe, you know, maybe they are out there. Who's to say, you know? So maybe, you know, I can hope. Thylacines are also considered a cryptid because of this, because there is that speculation that they may still exist. They are considered a cryptid by some, and they're a cryptid born out of hope. And I can really admire that, like, in the cultural osmosis. Like, the way that the Thylacine is, like, even though it is also like a story of tragedy, the fact that we feel such remorse and grief about this animal being lost, the fact that there are rumors that it continues to persist somehow just out of our sight as a cryptid of hope is like really cool, honestly. Just a really awesome animal. I miss these guys, they were so cool. And I do hope that somewhere out of our sight, out of our knowledge, maybe a couple of them still exist and are doing their thing, just never to be seen by humans again. That would be kind of cool. Anyway, this is Cinna and Minnie. I thought they would make a fun mother-daughter couple, similar to like Caitlin and Katie. They travel between different towns, and my thought was that you would take the daughter, Minnie, on various adventures, teaching her about like how to catch bugs or catch fish or like dig fossils and other fun stuff like that. Like, you would do, like, little tasks with her and help, like, keep her entertained because she doesn't want to be in her tent all day while her mom just wants to relax and enjoy, like, camping out in the woods or in your town or whatever. So I think they would make for a fun duo. I think Cinna would send you, like, little thank you gifts that are, like, rare items the next day after traveling. So yeah, this duo is super cute. I really wanted them to be, like, very adorable because I really want to emphasize, like, what I think is charming about the Thylacine, which is, like, even though people think they're scary looking for their big weird jaws, like, I think they're cute because, I mean, all animals are cute, but especially marsupials. And I really wanted to show that, like, softer parental side of them in this particular design, and I think this duo came out really adorable. And with that, that's all that I've got for you guys today, so thank you all so much for watching! Let me know in the comments below which one of these designs was your favorite, which one you want to see the most in an Animal Crossing game, and if you have any other ideas for extinct animals that would make for really cool Animal Crossing NPCs, because maybe I'll return to this in the future if I have enough good ideas to do so. So let me know in the comments! Thank you, by the way, to my Ko-fi members for helping to make this video possible. My Ko-fi members help my income stay more consistent and help me live out my dream of being a full-time artist. I'm going to be moving to New York soon, and having this stable income that I don't have to worry about, like, the YouTube algorithm, I just know that there are people who are just supporting my art faithfully. It's really cool to see, so thank you all so much if you're supporting me on Ko-fi. If you'd like to join my Ko-fi members, you can check out my link in the description, where you can join for as little as $1 a month. I'm trying to hit 100 members before the end of 2026, so literally, even just joining at that $1 tier does make a difference. It really does mean the world, so if you'd like to join, consider doing so. I also have commissions open on my VGen, so if you're interested in some art with a quick turnaround time, you want to get some character art, character designs, Twitch assets, or anything really, feel free to reach out on my VGen and I'd be happy to work with you. I'm also going to be tabling at a few various events. I have a schedule posted over here that you can take a look at. My next one that you guys are going to be seeing me at is going to be the Punk Rock Flea Market on this Saturday, which is the day after this video comes out, at the Lake George Games Expo on Sunday, which will of course be in Lake George, New York. So if you happen to be in the area for either of these events, I'd love to see you this weekend. Otherwise, my next event is going to be the New England Fan Con in August, and I've got a few more events coming up in the fall, so if you happen to be in any of these areas, I would really love to see you at my table. It'd be really cool to meet you guys. And with that, I believe that is everything I've got for you guys today. So thank you all again so much for watching this video. I hope to see you next week with another art video. And in the meantime, why don't you guys go out there and make some art.